Hi, I'm JettKuso, and today, well, Bakugan Brawl, it's a big ball. We're gonna be reviewing some Deka Bakugan. Let's get right into it. Here we go. Oh. I like Nilius more, so I'm gonna save him. Let's take a look at this Deka Dragonoid. Deka Bakugan were a feature of the original Battle Brawlers Legacy series. I think Deka is like 10 in Latin, or it's derived from 10 in Latin, so it's like they're 10 times the size of a normal Bakugan.
They're not, though.
I mean, maybe they are, mathematically. It's a giant Bakugan. You all know that already. I didn't even know this came with a card. Yes! Fiery Rage! Yeah!
You need that?
No! Okay, so this is really what it's got. It's got the big Dragonoid. It's got a big metal core. If I were Static Shock, I could fly around on. I don't know how to proceed from here.
Close it, we'll cut it out.
Big Baku core. At the very least, it's Baku core shaped, but it doesn't actually look like a Baku core, which is really disappointing to me. It has Dragonoid character art on the back, and it says Dragonoid. They obviously don't want any kids to think you're allowed to play this in the game, so that's probably why they did this. But personally, I want to try to play a full game with all Dekas, so we're gonna need to get like a ton of these. What I don't know is I don't know what the right measuring distance is on this stuff, because I've got that whole thing figured out on a normal Bakugan, but Dekas, I don't know. Roll it back. Okay, the pivot shoot looks stupid. We do a full hand pivot shoot?
Yeah, sure.
Bakugan, stand. Do not throw that at me. Yeah! Whoa, big explosions, whoa! It's a big Dragonoid.
It's not a good way to showcase it.
Here we go. One thing I really like is the plastic feels really thick. Like it's dense. It's not like you would think they would try to cut costs by like making the plastic really thin, but no, it's like really nice quality. One thing that's interesting as well is on normal Dragonoid, I'll actually do a quick comparison. On normal Dragonoid, this headpiece is just floppy. It just falls down by gravity. But on the Deka here, it's actually spring-loaded. You can see. I guess that's because there's just too much friction in there for it to flop down easily. They're hard to roll. I'm getting the impression, I've messed with a few of these before. Yeah, the magnet is pretty strong, obviously. But it still has more distance to cover because it is higher up inside the ball. Oh yeah, he kind of falls off there.
Is the magnet north or south?
I don't know these things that you ask me, and why would I? We'll set him off to the side with his little buddy, and we'll check that out later. Let's look at Nilius. Oh, gosh. I really liked Dekas in the original series. I only had a few, and I actually ended up getting rid of a lot of them. But in hindsight, it was one of those things that made Bakugan just kind of like goofy and fun. Like it didn't take itself too. Oh yeah! Dark Boost! Yes!
You need that?
No! It's fun to just have giant Bakugan. I remember like originally there was no like, they never said that you weren't allowed to use them in the game. So I would have kids walk up to me with like a Deka Bakugan on their team. I remember there were kids at BakuCon trying to use them, and they would just try to like bowl them over their opponent. I've immediately figured out what the correct distance is. There he is! Big Darkest Nilius. Look at him, he looks amazing like this. Much more substantial than the core version, obviously. Same situation, head's really firm, all of the pieces are really just nice thick plastic. It's so much easier to see all of the fine detail. You can see all of the fine detail inside the wings, up the sides of the neck, on the backs of the wings. They've put so much detail into Bakugan. It's really cool to see them showcased like this. These ones would be fun to paint. These would be really fun to do a custom paint job on, whether it's panel lining or something like that. These would take really well to that. Let's do a comparison with normal Nilius. Where is he? Who is he? Where are you? There he is. Here's a little size comparison. That might be 10 times the size. I don't know. Here's the two lads. These are like amazing shelf pieces too. But I actually, since the old game, I have actually reacquired a couple of Dekas. I do have a big Legacy Preyas. Obviously, it doesn't have a G-Power change wheel, but it does have little manual feet. So I've got a big Preyas and just a big dumb trap Bakugan. So yeah, they didn't even only make normal Bakugan, they also made traps. What I'm curious about though is they didn't just make normal ball-shaped Bakugan, they also made traps. But what I want to know is, since Bakugan Battle Planet are larger than normal Bakugan, have the Deka increased size as well? They look like they are exactly the same size. Actually, I'm gonna have to put them over there and kinda... It looks like the Dragonoid is a little bit bigger, but that's probably just general variance in size. I'm sure even some of the Legacy Deka Bakugan vary in size a little bit. But actually the new ones feel more solid than the old ones did. But all in all, it's about the same level of quality. Oh, yeah, so here's another thing. Actually a little bit mad about this, but again, I understand why they did it this way. These cards are giant character cards that came in like those like boxes, but they released Ultra Hydrus, Ultra Dragonoid, and Ultra Nilius, which are the same as the first 3 Deka Bakugan that have come out, except it's the Ultra versions and not the core versions like the Deka Bakugan. And they've said they have no plans to make Ultra Dekas, which I mean, obviously, there'd be no way to put powerful enough springs and they would actually be able to flip how Ultra Bakugan are supposed to. I guess that they're just trying to make it so that no one thinks you can use Deka Bakugan in gameplay, but it's so sad, because it would be so much fun to be able to display, you know, your giant Bakugan and on your giant core with your giant card. I mean, that'll actually, like, you probably just... Will it just go in there? No, never mind. At the very least, you could still technically display them together, because the art still portrays the same character. In fact, the art on the core of Dragonoid is the same as on the Ultra card, and the same goes for on the Nilius. Which I wonder if that's the same as... That's a weird choice of art for the cores, because the Dragonoid and Nilius character cards have different art. I don't know. That's weird. Whatever, though. I super want to try to do a Baku Showdown at some point where we use all Deka Bakugan. That would be ridiculously fun. But I'm absolutely going to put these on a shelf. I'll hurl them at my enemies. Don't do that. Don't throw Deka Bakugan at people. That'd be real. I'm pretty sure kids did used to throw Deka Bakugan at each other. I think that was a thing that happened many times back in my neighborhood.
You just don't remember it because you got hit in the head too hard by a Deka.
Just really... Okay, that's it. That's Deka Bakugan. Well, that's Deka Dragonoid and Deka Darkus. Well, that's Deka Dragonoid and Deka Nilius. I really like these things. They're actually not that expensive, which impressed me. I would think, like, with how expensive plastic is right now, that they'd be like 20 bucks, which is way too much, but they're like 15 bucks, which is a really great price. They're really nice, and they're fun to have. So I think it's totally at the perfect price point. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about Bakugan featured in this video, leave them in the comments down below. You can follow me on Twitter at JettKuso, and right now you can support me on my Patreon page so I can produce more content. Right now I have a goal. If we can get to a certain amount, I'm gonna be able to guarantee a video every week or more. So that is something that I really want to get to, so check out my Patreon page, link down in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is JettKuso, and I'll see you next time.